The white of the eyes are never like super white. I sort of like to understate them anyways in terms of like their brightness, and then like and keep them really soft, and then sort of just paint ever so slightly brighter on top of it. So I'm getting a small filbert sable here. This is a Rosemary & Co. Pure Sable Series 91, size 4. I think I'm gonna go ahead and make a value for not the highlight but the light of his skin. So, and I'm like, I try and be exact as I can be, but I'm also a little bit lenient, because say it's like just a little bit brighter, or like say a little bit too pink or something, I'm going to be doing so many edits, and I'm going to be putting sort of like layers and layers of paint, that the layers of paint are going to sort of make the desired color that I want. I guess that's painting indirectly. But I definitely paint very directly as well. So it's like the combination of the two. So painting directly would be mixing the exact value and color that you want, and then applying that relatively thickly onto the painting and sort of like shape that you want. And then painting indirectly would be either glazing or scumbling. Glazing is painting a darker value onto a lighter value very thinly, so with lots of either medium or turpentine. And scumbling is painting a lighter value onto a darker value, thinly, transparently, semi-opaque. So, but I mean, I kind of do like a combination of it all. I'm actually going to oil out my darks here. Ivory black has a tendency to sort of sink in quite a lot, and that's when the paint sort of the ground of the canvas like sucks the oil out of the paint, and it becomes sort of like chalky and lighter than the true sort of value of the paint. So what I do in order to fix that is I just get a little bit of medium and then a little bit of terps. And you want to make sure that your painting is dry when you do this. And so I can feel that it's totally, actually, well, just if it's not totally dry, be careful. It's kind of nice because you can sort of like use oiling out to like either unify or soften things that you want. But yeah, just getting the oil and sort of resaturating the paint. And then this side of the hair, has a little bit more light in it. So I might add a little bit more raw sienna. If there's like light in the hair, you want to make it lighter with sort of any color but white. Because once you put white into the hair, it goes gray. And Arnie clearly doesn't have gray hair. So I'm gonna try and keep it like nice and chromatic. But there does come a point where you do start to need to add a little bit of white into the highlights. And I used to sort of avoid painting the hair and just keeping it as like a really like abstract flat shape for a long time because I just didn't know how to paint hair. And then I realized once I like finally took the step to paint it properly, it adds like so much depth to the painting. Because then you just have light sort of on everything and it just like gives a lot more atmosphere. As you can see, I'm sort of glazing. And I don't really want to be doing this right now because it's starting to become over-modeled. So it's nice. I got like some dark halftones and some transitions. I'm going to go back in and sort of paint the light shape. But in terms of canvas, I like it like a little bit more coarse. I'll use sort of linen or jute. It's nice when it's a little bit more coarse because you can get a little bit more how would you describe it? Yeah, it's less it allows the paint to sort of have like a breath to it. It's easy to apply a brush stroke that's not going to be like really sharp and graphic. You can sort of like put paint down in a way where, I don't know, I find that you can get like a wider range of like brushstroke quality with like more coarse canvases. Because if you want like a really sharp brushstroke, you sort of just like apply like a really thick, wet brush. If you paint the shadows but more thinly, they'll become like transparent, sort of how they are in nature. And then if you paint the lights more thickly, they'll sort of glow. Which is nice. Yeah, I mean, values are like super important. I would definitely like maintain a focus on getting like the value relationships, because if you have that, I think colors is pretty like innate thing that hopefully you have like it's something that you just sort of develop over time. But values is something that you really sort of have to like train yourself to get. And I think that has like a bigger impact on painting than like colors. I mean, I like colors, but. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint. I'm not liking the way the hair and the background are looking sort of separate from each other. And even the face a little bit. So I'm gonna sort of soften this hairline. I feel like so much is conveyed in shoulders. But they also like are incredibly, they just can move a lot. And so they're always like, and they have like such like specific like angles to them. So I find myself trying to pay pretty close attention to shoulders. You definitely want to be painting the painting as like a whole. Like you can see that I'm developing the painting, because it's really easy just to focus on the face, and just sometimes you can get stuck working on the same thing over and over again, and then you don't realize that if you just worked on the rest of the painting, it sort of helps you see what needs to be done in other areas. And sometimes it's not really much or anything at all that needs to be done. You just needed to finish the painting. Let's see. Really trying to place the light on his cheekbone. And you don't want to get too hung up on reflective light, but especially in darker skin, you can notice the reflective light a little bit more, and I think it's important to sort of subtly indicate it. Otherwise it looks a little bit flat. I have these sort of very old brushes, very soft brushes, and that allows me that when I paint wet into wet, first, I'm not using loads of paint to where it's like there's not going to be like a sharp line between, if I use a brush like this and I sort of like maneuver it, the paint will sort of like blend into each other, and create really nice transition. And if it doesn't, I can actually just go in with my finger and sort of like smudge them together. And then there's some edges there that I'd like to be softer. So I'm getting, let's go ahead and I'll use this sable. A nice large sable, it's really soft. And I'm dipping my medium into it. There's no paint on it. I'm rubbing the medium off. I mean, you can even do it with no medium, but the paint might stick to the brush too much. So with the oil on the brush, it allows the paint not to get too stuck to the brush, but for me to be able to use this and sort of brush those values together. So you can see I'm like drawing while I'm softening. Painting the background, like the right value, I found was like incredibly helpful because it just allows you to see all the relations. And then it helps you like just see the drawing and everything that sort of just needs to be adjusted. So the sooner you can get that relationship established of the background and the portrait, the easier you'll be able to get going. Oh yeah.